What I want to talk about is what a lot of people call the merkaba. And I want to talk about what we understood as the marriage between the ba and the ka, and what those things are. And so this is a video about the merkaba. First of all, you got the person. Here we go. Not bad. So we get some. Whoa! Whoa! Yo! Got fingers on here and a thumb. Fingers over here and a thumb. Okay, so that about covers it, doesn't it? And everything. Well, so what? There is this person has a field around them, which is what was called merkaba. So in that you've got these chakras, these energy centers, which there's blues right here. Whoops. This thing is not gonna work. Okay. Blues right there. This is green. Oh, it looks like it doesn't have yellow, so we use orange. Orange for orange. Yellow, orange for yellow. And then we got red. Red's down here. And then we also got purple and purple and indigo. Cyclops. Indigo. Anyway, so here's what people what used to be the field is actually pretty much divided into two parts. This is what the shaman, like the shaman of Mexico, also say. And one of the things that is important is it seems to be that the shaman of Mexico, their routine actually is an even more true representation of how the ancients thought about it than what present day people who talk about the merkaba. And here's what many people say. They talk about, I'll do it in light green, which is not really green. It's so from the upper chakras, kind of splitting at there. There's this upper part, which pretty much encompasses the spirit being. That's called ka, and the ka is spirit. So that's the spiritual being in the body. Then, as far as the ancient writings go, I haven't found this, but I find this in the shamanic teachings. Right where they split it's like a void in between in the body. So that's the ka. And then the lower part, we're going to do orange because that's an interesting color. And here's that's the ba. Now the ba, so people say, oh well, the ba is the personality. And it really is. It's the lower aspect. It's the physicality. It's the person's life. It's what the person manifests. So this ba is life, the person's life. And so you have in the Latin America Southern tradition, that is called a nawal. And it has this magic property to it. This thing is where your magic. So when you get the teachings of Don Juan and that stuff, and people talk about magic, some of it's actually real. I mean, you know, yes, Carlos Castaneda was a great. He had a very good imagination, but he had some real experience that was truly, you know, really shook him up. And it was because they're in this area having to do if the spiritual being can move down and move into and try to develop this, then all of a sudden magic starts happening. All kinds of cool stuff can go. Now, in the ancient tradition, we thought that the Ba, this part of it, had to be serene, had to be conquered. How do you spell that? Hell. I went blank for a minute. Had to be, you know, without motion. And once we thought that once you're able to attain that state of perfection, that you would be able to move on from a life with your body, with both your ka and your ba, and move into some other realm of non-physicality where you'd no longer have to reincarnate. So there was a problem about that. So what we did was we noticed that the energy footprint of many of these like the pyramids and stuff. So we would thought that, well, you make a pyramid over here, you know, you imagine that in your space and you let the energy run through, just imagining it, this energy that comes from there is going to give you more energy, and you get up, and it's going to bring your ba up, and all that stuff, and being serene, and it's really good, and you have only good experience then, so that was the tradition that I was involved in ancient Egypt as a priest. This is the tradition that we went into. This the trying to find balance and then of course we took monatomic gold, you know, ormus, white powder gold stuff, and then we were able to ascend, and that was a pretty standard thing that most people didn't ascend till they're 800 or 900 years old, you know, like that. They live a full life, and then in that life, oodles of people did ascend, and I believe that most of us ascended because we were trying to escape. Yeah, the experience on Earth. We thought the experience on Earth was something that was peculiar to Earth, not to us. We didn't attribute the problem to being our problem. Instead, we thought the problem was Earth. It's just this thing outside. It's this, all this stuff coming in, trying to come in at you. You know, during the Exodus, there was like these angry red clouds, and there's so much charge up here that when there'd be a storm, it would form this, these columns of flame, like a tornado, but totally on fire. I mean, those things were, talk about one scary idea. Got a call, you're watching and here's a column of flames coming at you or going across, just watching one, it's like, holy cripes, and there's like lightning going out of it. You can imagine, it's like, that's not us, that's the world here. Well, what we didn't realize is, here you've got, when you have the ka, the spirit, we didn't understand the ba. We didn't understand that part of us is emotional. It's female. And if you try to totally, let's say you're in a relationship, let's say this is the male part, and this is the female. If the male has to do whatever he can to dominate the female, what you get is bango, unholy shit back. Eventually it's going to, she's either going to acquiesce and die, or she's going to be at war with the male, which the war is the typical thing, really. A person that acquiesces and dies, like, that's so. And what we didn't understand is the male calling the shots isn't the proper place for what happens inside us. We should be allowing, let's say something comes from the outside here, and it's like, it should bring up, somebody does something and makes you pissed. Or it should. But instead of being pissed or afraid, you go, oh, no, serene, we got to be serene. And then this thing manifests as a truck and rolls over you, and that's the end. Okay, well, get to ascend, but without your body. But see how that the idea that the being not pissed, having that idea throws, it's like a war right in here. He's saying you can't be pissed, and she's saying I am, and he's saying you cannot. That's not a good feeling. But I am, and that internal struggle in us makes it so we can't manifest what we wanted to. And we can't manifest what we want to, and instead we manifest this complete crazy bullshit so it gets returned. Instead of getting a positive sort of what people call kundalini return, this return is the energetic component of the kundalini. That's the female energy that comes back. And it's when you call the shots on the ba, on your emotion, on your female side of yourself, expressing itself as emotion, then you get this, instead of a kundalini return, which makes for magic, you get completely the opposite. You get a column of flames, running through your life and screwing things up. So instead of us calling the shots as males, what I would recommend people do is go on Amazon and pick up every book you can on healing the emotional body. Just use those words in the search. Healing emotional body, or evolving emotions, or like that.